welcome to Barbados My Books. Today I'm going to read an excerpt from my short story, Unsafe to Walk This Street at Night, set in Baxter's Road, Bridgetown, Barbados. Then later, during a daytime visit, I will share with you some points of interest. I hope you enjoy. Please do. Unsafe to walk this street at night. People say no lady would leave her house dressed like this. She liked the attention. She depended on it. Depended on the predictability of men. She had already let one pretend to be Tavares and sing her heaven must be missing an angel. She let another rest his hand on her knee so he would buy her deputies. But that was foreplay. She was in the mood for a stronger beverage and knew how best to get it. Any problems would have started with the vicious whores in the rum shop, wrinkling their faces at her like she owed them good behavior. But her kitchen was always full of hot oil and goat piss. Let them try something. She was in the sisterhood of self. Doing as she pleased was the advantage of opening her own business. They weren't ready. Little girls playing dress-up. When Portia turns sideways and those knee-high silver boots come down the steps, boy. The men standing round chasing rum with rum lost their courage. She tosses her white hair off the gold-studded bikini top with her curling claws. The matching tee-back bottom has fitted knee-length leggings full of big holes attached. Sweetness, you laughing already? A man that looked like a lizard wearing circular frame sunglasses cries out. Kader, don't laugh my soul, he said, squeezing his crotch. Don't make me laugh, Portia replied. You take me for a common noun, but I is a pronoun. The halves of her heart-shaped bottom alternate, rolling downwards and vibrating with each deliberate step away. It should be common knowledge that this part of Bridgetown always smelled of urine. Not even her perfume, in which she'd bathed, could shield her nostrils from it. Always some stray dog of a man cocking up on a wall. She had passed 2 in alleyways already, but kept moving fast before they could detect her. Her attention was on the obstacle course of holes and broken and uneven slabs of concrete that she hesitated to call a sidewalk. AIDS, in grey graffiti on a wall of scratched-off dance hall posters. Stepping down, Portia held on to the closer of 2 no-entry signposts, one on each side of the entrance to this back road. It was still and quiet in the darkness after the street lights stopped flickering. Sweetness, it is unsafe to walk this street at night. The voice behind her almost made her do a backflip. Shucks, this idiot. You're right, 'cause with you here, I ain't got nobody to protect me, she said to Mr. Cool, in sunglasses at night and enough gold chains to be Mr. T. What you feel you could talk to me so though? He said, pointing his gun fingers at her. Portia slapped her privates, flicked him the middle finger, turned and quickened her pace. She knew the locked-up wall-to-wall buildings on either side offered no escape, and that she had to make it to the end of the street where, "Boy, you, let me go!" He had her arm grapple up before she could hear him running to catch up to her. Let you go, he said, dragging her over a gutter and shoving her up against the shop's wall. Not until I give you what I got for you. Portia scratched across his face. In the moment of disbelief, after he touched his cheek and looked at his hand, she started to laugh. Boy, you so foolish. I had my eye on you for so long now. A three-legged dog bonks by purposefully. You see you? You is enough trouble then, he say, scolding her with his finger. Sweetheart, you don't even know, she say, moving his hand up her inner thigh, then stopping it before Never Never Land. Come and find out, baby, she whisper before giving him a kiss with a lot of tongue and swiveling shoulders. Then she led him by the hand towards it. There, under the spotlight of the street lamp, the image of a bed she had put in his head, using her powers. It was the image of a bed she'd gotten from a sanitary napkin television commercial. She had herself spied from outside somebody's window. With the white bed, there was a white horse, white moon, a white woman in a flowing white dress, all at a white sand beach. The bed seemed to hover in the road, the white veils around its posts attempting to lift themselves at every suggestion of a breeze. And just as you thought it was strange, he didn't think it strange. A bed in the middle of the road. There were small tremors that coincided with their footsteps. But there she was, hypnotically saying the things into his ears that he expected to hear long time. And him, with each step and vibration more caught up in the lies. Upon the bed she crawled, turning to face him, more ground shaking. Yeah, baby, don't be shy, he coaxed. Portia yanked at his belt and unzipped his pants. He leaned back and closed his eyes. You got to be kidding me, she sings out. She turned away her head, sucking she teeth. You is so much man, she say. For she had heard the stories about how he was a drug lord who had a heavy hand with the ladies. When he looked down now, he jumped back. Up went his hands like he was about to start juggling. What you do? He shout out. That time he feeling down there and nothing but hair, no matter how far he reach. What I do? What I do? Is what I gonna do. She laugh out, and then she spring punny, spin round and trip on the bed. The four veils fly out, got the bed on its side in midair. But he did not fall. He holler out. He start to cry. He start to plead. However, the more he struggled, the more entangled he became in the center of Portia's bed that was not a bed at all, but a giant spider's web. Hi, I'm Martin Boyce, self-published author of Centipede and My Sister's Voice, and I'm here in BAXTER'S Road at sunrise to bring you Barbados in my books. Facing north at the crossroads, not of your life, bear with me. On the left, there's Westbury Road, where, as you know, our beloved Rihanna spent her childhood. That leads into Passage Road on the right, Barbary Hill straight ahead, and BAXTER'S Road, which I imagined as a backdrop to this short story, Unsafe to Walk This Street at Night. At least where it starts. BAXTER'S Road, located in Bridgetown, Barbados, originally known as Bailey's Alley, dates back to the early 19th century. The street was later renamed BAXTER'S Road after a prominent Bridgetown merchant, Nathaniel Baxter. Historically, BAXTER'S Road has been a hub of commercial activity, housing various street vendor shops, markets, and businesses. It's known for its lively nightlife and has been a central part of Bridgetown's economic and social life. Now, I pictured that Jerk City, hilarious name with the triple entendre, double entendre. This is a triple entendre. And the Blue Room, Collins Place, would make the perfect setting for Portia's hunting expedition, given their popularity among dance hall enthusiasts and fans of dancing ladies. As Portia exits one of these joints, By the way, neither of them has steps outside for her to flaunt her outfit like in the story. She didn't make a pit stop at Pink Star because she was on a mission. The oldest establishment on the street is famous for its Bajan street food like fried chicken necks and gizzards, chicken and chips, and liver cutters, sauteed liver in a salt bread roll. There's also wet bread made of light sweet bread and stewed chicken gizzards. If you know what it was called before it was called a wet bread, please let me know. I've never passed this place when it's open and not seen a crowd waiting to be served. On a Wikipedia page, I found listed as protected properties of UNESCO's World Heritage Site within historic Bridgetown, Barbados, in Mason Hall Street, 3 residential buildings: Gretna Green, Viola Cot, and Mrs. Drake's house. There was also a school, St. Mary's Junior School. In reality, however, there was no signage that usually indicates UNESCO's World Heritage Sites, and so no clear indication that these photos I took were of any of these buildings, except perhaps for St. Mary's Primary School, of which I was told these ruins are all that remain of the original school. St. Mary's Primary School, established in 1817, stood as one of Barbados's oldest elementary schools. Initially named the Colonial Charity School and located near St. Mary's Church Wall, it later relocated to Mason Hall Street, Bridgetown. Lieutenant R.E. Lugar endorsed Bell's teaching system, which sounds as worker drone inducing as whatever it was I suffered through as a student. And the admission of slave children secured £100 annually for the master's salary from the Church Missionary Society. Recognized as the inaugural primary school in the West Indies, St. Mary's Boys' School emerged within a decade of England's push for widespread education. There is a standpipe on Mason Hall Street. According to Krystal Penny Bowen in The Village Standpipe in Barbados, Disappearing Bajan Culture, in 1861, the standpipe, a standard pipe, was introduced to Barbados, providing free water to the general population through 400 pipes. While some standpipes remain today, like the one on Mason Hall Street and next door in Reed Street, they have become symbols of disappearing Bajan culture. Historically, standpipes served as essential resources and social meeting areas, evolving from large iron cylinders to concrete set pipes. Despite advances in indoor plumbing, standpipes remain vital for some Barbadians in low-income and densely populated communities, supporting daily activities like washing clothes, bathing, and meal preparation. So, you know how I said this video was about Baxter's Road? Well, it turns out that although it's one road, it changes names, I'd say about midway to Tudor Street. Continuing the trend of mainly smaller shops and businesses, together with wayside vendors, Tudor Street continues south to our final stop, Suttle Street, then intersects Swan Street as it runs perpendicular to and eventually meets Broad Street, the main street in Bridgetown. The Tudor Street Main Guard, an offshoot of the Central Police Station, played a crucial role in the establishment of the Royal Barbados Police Force, RBPF, overseeing various duties, including the controlled access to Central Station through the Tudor Street Gate. As communication and mobility improved, the guards gradually closed, evolving into police posts and stations. Today, the only remaining guard is at Government House. This brings us finally to Suttle Street, where Portia traps a man in her web, and where I got robbed one night after insisting my hookup didn't need to walk me back to the bar at which we'd met. Interestingly enough, it is a bar that is close to where Portia met her victim. In Suttle Street, shop houses, characterized by two-story structures where families reside upstairs while conducting business below, are a prevalent architectural feature. These buildings often boast wrought iron balconies, adding some charm to the road. The back streets, narrow and winding, create a labyrinth filled with small grocery shops and bars. Notably, many of these establishments proudly advertise their availability around the clock, offering 24-hour slots for those seeking goods or a place to unwind. In the commentary by Oliver Thomas on nationnews.com, he reflects on the 1937 rebellion in Barbados, a pivotal event in the post-emancipation era throughout the British West Indies. The rebellion, triggered by the deportation of political activist Clement Paine, saw the working class population venting their anger by destroying public and private property in Bridgetown, including clashes at Suttle Street. The rebellion, fueled by abysmal economic conditions and social injustices, led to significant changes, including an extended franchise and the introduction of minimum wage and trade union legislation in 1943. Oliver Thomas emphasizes the enduring lesson of the rebellion, highlighting the working class's ability to organize for long overdue rights. Suttle Street, formerly known as Backchurch Street, stands as one of Bridgetown's oldest streets. Originally inhabited by the middle class, it has undergone a transformation from a residential area to a more authentically local and commercial environment. Many structures along this street date back to the early 18th century, having been spared from fires that affected other parts of Bridgetown. The nut place is where I meet all my nut needs, except the sexual one. Usually pistachios and baked ground nuts, you'll know as peanuts. Located midway, Anicia's shop offers a diverse array of items imported from various islands, particularly St. Lucia. When inquiring about her coal pots, which I saw hanging outside her store, Anicia mentioned that she now prefers to stock only cast iron coal pots. The reason being, fired clay pots have a tendency to chip and break. For aesthetic reasons, customers might hesitate to purchase them even if they're still functional with a chip. This ends up causing significant financial loss for Anicia. Just to give you an idea, a large one goes for 200 Barbados dollars, equivalent to 100 US dollars, and a small one is priced at 150 Barbados dollars. The origin of most coal pots remains unclear, with the question of whether they were locally crafted from fired clay or the pricier cast iron. It appears that tin coal pots were fashioned from local tinsmiths using butter, cheese, or biscuit containers. In Barbados, where churches are as common as rum shops, it's no surprise to spot this church sandwiched between bars. Its name evokes visions of fervent worship, the type used to fend off what is misinterpreted and consequently demonized. If only the lizard man had ventured into a church, he might have spared himself from Portia's potent and isolating enchantment. I hope you liked strolling down Baxter's Road in this episode of Bridgetown in my books, Baxter's Road and Suttle Street. In the next episode, how about I take you to the minibus stand where one of my characters, Tricky, worked? Or along the route of the Barbadian Mother Sally Pooch Bat Pam. Until then, please avoid walking along unsafe streets at night. Good morning. I'm shite. Hi, I'm Martin Boyce. And it's too loud.